Hey, my name is Javier Singh. I'm an airline pilot and a flight instructor. And as you probably most of you will know that beginning of this year, my logbook and my flight documents got stolen. And so now in this video, I wanted to share with you the process or the steps that I followed to recreate my logbook and how long it took and who I contacted and the documents that it took me um, to put back in my logbook and how much help did I get from civil aviation. So the way I followed this process was to first of all got myself back together after my documents got stolen because I couldn't fly for almost 3 weeks because I did not have my medical because medical was stolen and my license was stolen. And actually, the main reason I could not fly was the my glasses that I wear. So I had to get them redone, and then only I could start flying. But anyway, in terms of the logbook, so I contacted police. They gave me the robbery report, file number, and I contacted civil aviation after that, and I asked them to send me a letter. Now that letter, basically, it was a request from my side that if I can have a let if I can have a letter which will specifically say that I am recreating this logbook from so and so hours. So basically, when you do your flight test, you do um, you do your logbook summary, and they do the logbook assessment, and the examiner send those hours to civil aviation, and they will send you back the copy of the hours or the number of hours they had at your previous flight test or the previous renewal that you did. So because I'm a B category flight instructor and I have total of 4,000 hours, so I had to decide should I log or relog all those 4,000 hours, or should I start from my previous BCAT flight instructor renewal flight test. So that's what I decided to do. Um, Now, before the BCAT flight test, I had to decide that should I log uh, my flight training hours, which was my private license, my commercial license, and my instrument rating. So I decided to log those hours as well because that shows your history, and I actually wanted to have those hours in my logbook. For those hours, I contacted my flight training organization, which is Ardmore Flight School, and they were really helpful with those hours. And luckily, they had those entries recorded digitally, and they sent me an email which had Excel sheet, basically a PDF copy of all my flight hours. Now, the issue that I had with those was I had the dates, I had the flight times, I had the instructor names, but I did not have the flight details, which was another problem for me. So I had to contact every single instructor, and I had to ask him a copy or the picture of their logbook for that flight date, so I can fill in the flight details sections. That was the main challenging step for me, because all my flight instructors are not there anymore. They're mainly working for one of the airlines right now, and they're in different countries as well. So um, so that took me about 4 to 5 months to get those flight details and then log it in my logbook. Ardmore Flight School, that's really good. They sent me the digital copy or the PDF of the flight hours. Nelson Aviation College, where I did my instructor rating from, they sent me the details of the instructor rating course that I did. And then the hours were logged. Now the problem was certifying those flight hours, which means that after every um, requirement is met, for example, for commercial pilot license, once a requirement is met, you need to have those certifying stickers. Um, so Ardmore Flight School, they reprinted the stickers for me, but then I had the same issue that how will the stickers get signed from that particular instructor. So what we decided to do was email those stickers to the flight instructor, and then they will sign it digitally and then send me back, and then I'll print it and I'll stick it in my logbook. Um, so what happened with that is, at least the logbook, all the hours and the entries are there, but you lose the authenticity of the whole thing. You lose your history. You lose the actual pen signature on that. But uh, leaving that side apart, I have got all the hours logged from my private license to multi-engine instrument rating to the initial instructor rating that I did from Nelson Aviation College. After that, I had to decide that should I log all the flight instruction hours that I did till now, or should I log from the last B category renewal. And I decided, after speaking to Civil Aviation, that which is the best way possible here. They said it's your decision because it's your logbook and you're going to spend time to relog those entries. So I decided to log it from my previous B category flight test renewal date, and then since that date to till now it's probably till last month, I did nearly 1,000 flight hours. So logging those flight hours was a bit of a challenge. Now, before I started logging those hours, what you guys need to do if you have lost your logbook is the letter that Civil Aviation send you. You need to print that letter out and put it in your logbook on the page before you start logging the flight hours. So the reason we do that is because first I logged my training hours up until the C category flight instruction test hours, and then from that time till last year's B category flight instructor renewal, you have a gap of those hours. And the way you can prove it that you have X amount of hours is by the previous logbook summary that your examiner sent, and that's what the letter will show, that at so and so date this guy had X amount of hours, and I will be logging my hours from here onwards now, and it's certified by New Zealand Civil Aviation. That is what I decided to do. After doing that, logging my 1,000 flight hours took me about, because I was doing it every day and I was really adamant that I really need to get this done so I can have my logbook back up and running. It took me about 20 days, or I would say at least a month. It took me a month to log it in properly and making sure that everything is logged up neatly. I'm not making any mistakes. So that was done, and then the logbook was back up and running. So this was the logging of flight hour side of things and putting all the stickers back in where it should be. Now the thing comes that about your initial pages of the logbook, which is your flight tests history, where the examiner signs on your initial pages of the logbook, and the page that says all your type ratings that you have. Now, one way is, if you are one of those guys who take pictures of your logbook, then you can reprint those pages and staple them all up together and put it in the front page. That's what I did, because I luckily had pictures of the initial pages of my logbook, of all my 4 logbooks, and I printed those out in color and stapled them together, and I glued it to the initial page. That shows that how many type ratings I have and how many flight tests I did back in the day. It doesn't look neat, but it looks neat depending on the way you put it in there. So the way I did it was, if you look up here, so I had this type of A4 size paper. I cut it up to this size, and then I put it in like this, and I stapled it up together, and I just glued it to this page here, to one of these pages, leaving the left hand side page empty, so that if I do more renewals or more check flights, they can start logging it from this side here now. And in terms of putting in the letter from Civil Aviation, I had to still cut that to size and print it on A4 size of paper, and I made sure that it's actually full letter. It's not A5 size of paper, because it's easier to read this way, and it shows that you're not trying to hide anything here. So that was that, and this side was the photocopy of actually picture that I took of my previous logbook summary page, and I also put that there. So this is what I did on the other side, and so one side is the letter from civil aviation, and the other side is the letter. The other side is the copy of your previous logbook summary that you recorded on your last renewal or flight test or whatever check flight you did at that time. So that was how I made my logbook. And if you have any questions, please let me know. And if I can be helpful in any way, I will be more than happy to share my experience. And also I can help you at any step. And I can also help you with contacting civil aviation or contacting a flight school. And I can also help you how to contact them basically. Other piece of advice that I have is this piece of document is actually your resume. When you go for your airline interviews or your flight instructor interviews, this is what you present to your possible employer. They look at it, and if it's logged in nice and neatly, this shows your effort that you put into and how much pride you take into your work. So that's what I was talking about earlier, that I needed to make sure that everything is logged in nice and neat, and it should look pretty much, the flow should be there. Cool. So that's what my logbook looked like. I'm not sure if you can read it from that far, but this is how it looked like. Yes, that's it from my side. If you have any more questions, please let me know, and then I can answer that on your comments, or you can follow me on my Instagram as well. I can put my link on that under my video or in the description section. Thank you.